you're all going to booze, I'm going to booze with you. Good health. Cheers. There it is. The key to heaven. People will tell you the way to get to heaven is to spend your life on your knees. I will tell you the way to get to heaven is to drink. Because when you drink, you get drunk. And when you're drunk, you sleep. And when you sleep, you do no wrong. And when you die, because you spent your life doing no wrong, you will go to heaven. So if you want to get to heaven, get very drunk. We are told again by the psychiatrist that the first stages of alcoholism is when you develop a raging thirst. Personally, I never let it get that far. And we're also told that 10% of all car accidents in the world are caused by people who drink. And that means if you look at it logically, 90% of the accidents are caused by people who don't drink. And all I can say is, why don't those sober people keep off the roads and let us drunks drive in safety? I don't actually know if it happens to anybody else here when they drink. But when I drink, and I enter into what is known as a stage of inebriation or intoxication or just plain honest-to-God drunkenness, but as far as I'm concerned, the alcohol does not affect my brain. My brain remains alert, sharp, clear, concise. In here, everything works. Coming out of here, rubbish, but in there, it works. Like you're in a bar, you see a friend, in your head you say hello, out of your mouth, hello, person, That's the great thing about drink. It promotes the idea, but destroys the performance. There is only one way to speak when you're drunk, and that is to speak in what we call speaking on the breath. It's a form of therapy. You breathe in, you fill your lungs full of air, instead of standing there going, fill your lungs up. Good evening. A double whiskey, please. Till you run out of breath. I learned it the hard way. Actually, I was in a bar one night. In my head, I'm asking for a whiskey. Out of my mouth, I said whiskey. The barman said, get out, you've had enough. And I don't argue. I'm not one of those belligerent drunks. I leave. I do what people ask me to do. I go straight out and go into another bar. Can you hear the whiskey out of here? And the barman said, get out. And just after leaving this bar, I see another fella come in. He's worse than I am. He stands by the counter, takes a deep breath, goes, good evening, double whiskey, please. And he gets it. And I thought, that is what I will do. Actually, I didn't think that. What I did think was, that is what I will do. I leave the bar, I go straight into another bar, up to the counter, stand there, take a deep breath, go, good evening, a double whiskey, please. And the barman said, what? I said, a very important part of the Irish way of life is death. Whereas the English have coming out parties, we in Ireland have going in parties. And in Ireland, when you die, you're laid out. And all your friends arrive and there's a party. And they all look at you and they drink your health. And I will also give you a word of advice. If you go to Ireland and you have to argue with an Irishman and you have to hit him eventually, and somebody says, why did you hit him? All you have to do is to say, I wouldn't have touched him, only he pulled a gun on me. And there was a man laid out for his own wake. And sitting with his son. And a friend arrives and he said, let's go down to the pub and have a couple of drinks. He said, I can't leave my father like that. He said, well, he's got his suit on. Pick him up and take him with us. He said, you're out of your mind. He said, I'm not. The place will be crowded. Just sit him down in a seat and we'll buy 3 drinks. And nobody will know. So he says, right. So they pick him up and they take him down to the pub and they sit him down in a, like that. And they're putting the booze away like mad things. And one says, the call of nature. I must go. And the other fellow says, I'll go with you. And while they're away, the barman comes over to clean the table. And there's the father sitting there like that. You all right there? Would you like another drink? God, you don't look well. Are you all right? And the father's down on the floor. And his son comes back and he says, what have you done with my father? He said, I wouldn't have touched him, only he pulled a gun on me.